Call of Duty has become a bit of a meme with a lot of people for making dumb decisions. Now, it ranks up there obviously as one of the most successful video game franchises of all time, for sure. So they must have done a lot right to get to where they are. However, they also did a lot wrong and made a lot of dumb calls.
Yeah.
So today we're going to take a look at the 5 dumbest decisions the Call of Duty franchise has made over the years. In our opinion, this probably could be a top 30 list, if we're being real honest. But we're being generous. We're not going to down to just 5. So, they owe us. They owe us big time.
Activision's calling you up.
Yeah, I should work there.
Yeah.
They lost their Blizzard CEO. Bring me in.
As the Blizzard CEO?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, if you enjoy this, please be sure to leave a like, subscribe for more content down below, and let me know what kind of hotel room you would want me to theme mine after when I am the Blizzard CEO. Very interested in that. Let's hop right into it. Number 5. The first one is jumping to the far future, specifically, by the way, in Black Ops 3. Jumping to really essentially a setting and story nobody cared about. With no connection to the rest of the franchise, outside of a few throwaway lines, about things like, oh, Menendez or something like that, or, oh, well, this action led to this security system. That's it.
Right.
There's really not much connection at all to any of the characters that made these games matter, like either of the Masons, Woods, anybody. It barely matters that this is a Black Ops game. It essentially feels like a random detour in the Call of Duty franchise entirely.
Yeah, I mean, not just with the Black Ops franchise, but just the Call of Duty one too. Like, you had good games leading up to this, or I should say decent games leading up to this. And it's not that every single game has to connect to the other games, but the problem is if you're just looking at the Black Ops franchise, you had Black Ops 1, and then Black Ops 2, but then Black Ops 3 was just so far advanced in the future that nothing in the first 2 games even mattered at all.
You know what's sad about this game, by the way? If you play the gameplay of the campaign, it actually can be fun.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the gameplay is snappy and responsive of Call of Duty. It is a COD game. I do think that the whole jump packs and everything, I think that worked in one game ever, which was Advanced Warfare.
Yeah, it was fun in that game.
You and I actually are probably 2 of the only fans of Advanced Warfare. So again, like an unpopular opinion from us, we liked that game. When it went to Black Ops 3, they nerfed a lot of the mechanics that made Advanced Warfare good, but still decided they needed to include them for God knows why. And it's just worse. I mean, this is worse Advanced Warfare with a Black Ops skin over it.
Yeah.
And it's not even a Black Ops skin. Like, it's unrecognizable from the rest of the Black Ops sub-franchise, like you said. This proved they didn't know what to do with Black Ops.
Yeah.
They cranked out 2 really good stories, and then they didn't know what to do, and they ended up not even making a story for Black Ops 4.
Yeah, they had no idea how to follow it up.
They didn't really bring it back until Cold War, where they actually did do a surprisingly good job of going back to that time period and tying it into the franchise. But it's odd because the characters introduced in Black Ops 2 even were interesting and fascinating, and it had built on the history of Black Ops. At the end of the day, this game itself is just uninteresting in a lot of ways. I mean, people turn on Black Ops 3 now to play zombies.
That's it.
And that is
it.
The
multiplayer's not fun.
Nope.
The campaign's not interesting.
Nope. Number 4. It's the 4th one.
4.
The next one is making Call of Duty Blackout, but never doing anything with it ever. Now, a lot of people don't even know what Call of Duty Blackout is. That is how sad this whole story is. Call of Duty Black Ops 4 did not do much to push the franchise forward in any way, except for Battle Royale. Everybody knows Warzone. Everybody talks about Warzone. It's a free-to-play app on its own. It's also connected to every major Call of Duty coming out right now, and who knows for how long. But Warzone's a big moneymaker for COD. It is essentially their answer to PUBG, to Fortnite, to all of these, I guess, battle royales. But they did this before. they introduced a really good map. I would say a better map.
Yeah, it's a lot more interesting.
In Call of Duty Blackout. It was a love letter to the Treyarch Call of Duty games. And essentially what it was a big map. You essentially did Battle Royale in this map, and it was greatest hits from the Call of Duty Black Ops games. Things like Array, things like Nuketown.
Even like zombies, like Diner.
Yeah. There were whole locations and locations based off of locations in this map for you to play a survival-like massive multiplayer experience. I mean, you just think something like Apex Legends or Fortnite, but with the best maps you grew up on playing Black Ops 1 and 2. That's essentially what this is. Now, maybe that's not the best marketing tactic if you're not a huge Black Ops fan. And I do kind of wonder if that's why this didn't go anywhere after this. Like, you know, it appealed to Black Ops people, and a lot of people, it was never marketed outside of that. It never became a standalone app or anything like that. But I really do think there was room in this franchise for 2 battle royales. There was room for a Blackout and a Blackout development team, and there was room for a Warzone and a Warzone development team. And those things worked best separated. You know, this is something we're going to talk about later on too, but Call of Duty did become so focused on combining its games into one thing. You know, like, well, we got to put Black Ops stuff in Modern Warfare. We got to put Modern Warfare stuff in Black Ops. We got to put, you know, and all this stuff and combine them. They worked best as their own universes. They worked best referencing themselves. And this really is proof of that. The iconic locations. Also, by the way, Buried is on here.
Yeah, that was added in later on.
Hijacked, again, added in later on.
Asylum from Verrucht.
It was very obvious that the people who made this game wanted to make Blackout because they loved COD.
Yep.
And they made it for that reason. It is not a microtransaction experience. Yes, there are some purchases you can make, but it is nothing compared to the egregious levels in Warzone. Number three. The next one's the one that I know is going to piss Nate off the most. That is ignoring their older games, mainly Modern Warfare 2.
Yes, so that is like my biggest pet peeve with Call of Duty. They remastered COD 4, the original Modern Warfare. Great game, loved it, awesome, good job. They never remastered Modern Warfare 2, which is arguably their most popular COD game in existence. They never did it. Now what they did is they remastered the campaign of Modern Warfare 2, which is great. I love the campaign. But they never remastered the multiplayer or the Spec Ops, which, to be honest, is a whole money thing. And this pisses me off that they never did it, because you know that if they ever remastered the multiplayer and, let's say, put it on like what they did with Modern Warfare, you know that no one would buy their COD games. Yeah. And that is why they're not doing it. It's not because they don't care about it. It's because they know that no one will buy Vanguard. No one would buy Cold War. No one will buy Modern Warfare 2 coming out next year. Yeah. No one will care. And in fact, no one will probably care about their COD games for at least like 2 or 3 years.
Call of Duty has really pivoted in terms of what it is now. I know a lot of people are going to say, no, it hasn't. They release every year. It's still Call of Duty. Yes, but their business model.
Right.
Their business model used to be release a game, release 4 map packs in a season. It was actually pretty generous. I say that in terms of a world now where you're nickel and dime for everything, right?
Right.
Almost every game feels like a gacha game or a pachinko when you turn it on. But the thing with that is that it has now changed. Now it's things like selling a ghost face costume in Warzone, or trying to get you to buy a gun camo pack. Not unlock it, buy it. You know, trying to get you to buy variations of unique weapons. Those things are very different. The thing with Modern Warfare 2 was it was all in-game. The only things they sold you were map packs.
Right.
So if they were to release this, yes, it would have a huge original sales push, I am sure. I am sure that it could outsell any Call of Duty game coming out now base sales. But what Activision seems to care about is that retention and those microtransaction sales over time, which this could not get unless you reverse engineered the game essentially to add that in, which I think would make people more mad than it's worth to make. And so
Right.
because of that, my point is, I think they're not making it because they're too greedy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's my point, is like their business model changed from, I will be a little greedy, to no, 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 no. No, if your child has 25 cents left to his name, if that is not in my pocket, I'm not giving you anything.
Right.
And it really did affect their experiences that they put out. There are balancing issues. There have been balancing issues with COD ever since you could unlock unique weapon variations.
Yeah.
They do have different stats. People just don't talk about it. And so with that, it's like you would basically have to ruin MW2 to re-release it with the business model they do now.
And my problem with Modern Warfare 2 is I never had the console when this game was originally out.
Right, when it was active, you didn't get to play it.
I played it at my friend's house, but I could only play it like once a week. I want this experience.
Right.
This is my favorite. This is one of my favorite games of all time.
Number two, the numero dos. The next one is probably a shorter entry. This is definitely an opinion-based thing, but I think a lot of the community around these games agrees, and that is combining multiple games together and ruining Warzone and ruining multiple experiences instead of just focusing on enhancing something as a general experience. And here's what I mean. We do not need a Call of Duty games launcher. Mm-hmm. We do not need a Call of Duty hub. Like,
right.
This isn't like where I go on to like check out like Riley Reid and like see what the newest, what
She's
the newest.
not doing anything anymore.
Well, okay, but you know, there's a lot of old video, you know,
Right.
old thing. You know, it's not. This isn't YouTube of like the greatest hits of COD. We don't need this. This is one of my biggest issues with where this franchise has gone. Where every time they bring out a new game, it's like they need to add it on to the old one.
Right.
And it's not just that they put them all in the same launcher. Fine. Unnecessary, but fine. But it's that they have to combine all their experiences together. Like, well, now we need to rebalance all of Warzone by putting in Black Ops guns. By the way, the experience has not at all been the same since then.
No.
They are trying to combine so many ideas into one thing instead of just doing something like Fortnite, where it's like, hey, listen, we have Warzone. It's already very proven. We're going to put our own team on it. They're going to make their own guns for Warzone. They're going to make their own whatever for Warzone. And it's not going to be attached to any other game outside of the one it came with.
Right.
That's really what they should have gone with. Instead, now we're at the point where this experience is completely unbalanced. The map changes or has changed and probably will change again. With a lot of those changes being actually berated by the community who did not like them. It's a mess. Plus, by the way, we're at the point now where if you install these games, these multiple games, you can't even fit them on every console, especially the old PS4.
Right. Every time they release an update, you have to delete like 10 things off your console. Mm-hmm. And they're like, oh, well, you need to clear off like 50 gigabytes of space. And you're like, why? Or it could be like a 10 gigabyte update, and they're like, you need to clear off, oh, I see you have Miles Morales on there. Why don't you get rid of that for our game?
It does come off as like they just want you to play COD.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so big.
Right. Well, and I was looking into this, and apparently part of the reason is, I don't know the full tech story on this because I'm not like an IT expert, but apparently when they copy the update, it has to somehow take off your entire game off your console and like reinstall it with the new update on it. And apparently that process somehow requires like twice the amount of space that the game is.
It's just a mess.
Yeah, it is. I deleted it off my console like 3 months ago.
Number one!
Splat.
The final one is the big criticism that this I guess console franchise, along with sports games and a lot of other franchises get, which is pumping out way too many games. Way too many.
Yes.
I would have thought that Activision would have learned their lesson, but the problem is that the player base also fueled this practice. You know, the thing is, Activision had to learn their lesson with Guitar Hero because they stopped selling.
Right.
They ruined the franchise. You know, they released so many in a row that people were like, I'm good.
Right.
And that's kind of the issue with those games, right? That's why we don't see as many of those music-based games anymore. You have Activision in general to thank for that.
Right.
For really ruining those franchises. And now we barely ever get to see a new one pop up. It's interesting because Just Dance from Ubisoft, they were able to maintain a level of quality and release focused experiences, yes, every year, but it was generally the same bones, and it didn't kill their franchise. But the thing with Just Dance for Ubisoft and Call of Duty for this is that people kept buying them. And it doesn't matter to them that it decreases the quality that they are capable of.
I think my opinion on this is, I think players ruined this, like you said. But what I think it was is players had such a great time on the 3 Modern Warfare games. They had such a good time on Blackout, Black Ops, and Black Ops 2. They had such a good time on World at War that I think when stuff like some of the more modern COD games, like starting with Ghosts, I think when those came out, I think people were expecting the original experience they had. So they're like, oh, I'll buy Ghosts. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And then it's like, oh, well, that one wasn't really as good. But then when like Advanced Warfare came out and some of the other ones, I think people were still like, eventually it'll get good. And I want that Black Ops 2 experience again. I want that Modern Warfare 2 experience again. And eventually they'll hit gold. And I think like eventually the player base, because I don't think the player base is what it used to be. I don't know what it is, but I don't think it is. And I think eventually players just kind of gave up on that. But unfortunately they bought those bad games that Activision was, I think they bought them expecting the original experience, but Activision took it as like, oh, everyone loves these.
Right.
And
there's
like,
no reason to take a break.
Right, and I think it's like, well, no, players were wanting the original experience. They were disappointed for like 6 years in a row, and then left.
I think one of the best things to happen to a series like Assassin's Creed was the failure of Unity.
Yep.
Was something like getting kicked in the balls to remind them like, hey, listen, people are not here just because you're Ubisoft.
Right.
People are here because they like Assassin's Creed. If you don't deliver a good experience with the Assassin's Creed name on it. Now, I know a lot of people don't like the changes, but those still considered good games. If you don't deliver a good experience with that name and that brand on it, people are not going to keep buying it.
Right.
That reminder kind of woke them up to like, oh, well, let's slow down a little bit. Let's put a little more effort in. Call of Duty never got that.
Yep.
It's never had a failure. It's never had a release so bad that it was just panned. It's maintained a level of mediocrity where it's good enough to satisfy the hardcore people and the people who just like casually play video games and they play COD and Madden and FIFA or whatever, right. And that's just kind of their thing. No hate. I mean, like, it's just enough to make those people happy. And there are a lot of those people. So because of that, those people who don't really have a high bar or standard of quality anyway, because they just play a couple of games, you say there's a couple million people like that, that is a lot of sales.
Right.
I get that mindset, like it's the same mindset I have going to see a Transformers movie.
Right.
I'm not going to have my life changed. I'm going to have a good time. So if those players still have a good enough time on them, cool. I'm not going to take your fun away from you. But I still think that if you look back both objectively and subjectively at what this franchise had to offer in the past, how it pushed gaming forward, the cinematic experiences they were able to deliver in their story campaigns, which by the way was very impressive and Hollywood movie-like, especially in an era of shooters that was not flashy and impressive like that, those things are pretty dead now.
Right. Yeah, I think it's kind of a shame because I think if they took a year off, for example, and let's say started going to the every other year and just focused on their games, I really think that this franchise has had a good enough past that if they pumped out something of the same quality as Black Ops 2, for example, I really think all those hardcore fans would come back to the game. Because those hardcore fans are only criticizing it because they knew how good it was.
Right.
And they want that back. And I really think that if you, let's say you brought back something as good as Black Ops 2, same quality, I think those fans would be like, okay, I'll play this again.
Right.
I took about 6 years off from this franchise. I want a new game that I can love.
Yeah.
And I really think it's sad because, yeah, you might lose a little bit of sales for a year, which I know, again, heart attack inducing for Activision. But I really think you would make up for it by bringing all those fans that you lost back into the franchise. Or give us a new Spyro game.
No, that won't happen.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Eat shit and die. Anyways, let us know what you think in the comments down below. What are 5 of the dumbest decisions you think Activision has made in general with Call of Duty? I gotta be honest with you, I think one of them was not having a Soap McTavish hotel room in one of the games.
I agree.
A soap suite.
I agree.
A don't drop the soap suite.
Yeah.
I think that would have worked a lot better than the random portrait of the Big C Man.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know what you think in the comments down below. Please be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed this. Subscribe for more content. Have a fantastic day. And as always, everyone, stay sway. And be sure to check out our secondary channel, Degenerate Plays, in the description down below, where we play through a wide variety of games together. See you later.